What do you need? I shall help too. What other cliches can I use? What is the matter with me? Why can't I talk? It'll be fine. Hello, my frugal friends, and welcome to another video. In today's video, I will be covering everything that we are eating in our house with no grocery shopping. Quick question, how do you say that word? Is it grocery? Is it grocery? Grocery. Now I'm second guessing myself. How do you say Say it however you want. Tomato, tomato. Tonight's dinner, I rummaged through my bread cabinet actually, because I feel like I have a lot of bread and I want to get rid of it. I found these clearance tortillas that I bought, this huge container, 15 ounce, homemade in the store for $1.49. They're Southwest style, and I'm thinking, what can I do with these? Fajitas, we just had that. Burritos, maybe. My family loves it when we do quesadillas. In my freezer, I have some chorizo. Cook that up in a skillet, put it on the tortillas. I found this dusty can of refried beans. So we'll do refried beans, chorizo, and tortillas for some homemade quesadillas.
Got any cheese?
Why, yes, Urkel, I am glad you asked. I do have cheese indeed. We have some leftover pepper jack. I'm gonna shred that right up and put it with all of this. Serve it with some salsa, serve it with some sour cream. Boom, dinner. The kids are gonna love it. It's fast and easy and gets rid of stuff in my house. Dinner what? Complete. I love chorizo. I love it, I love it, I love it. You can basically put it in anything and it will taste good. So just go buy some and start putting it in stuff. Your meals will taste delicious. This is some homemade chicken broth. In my Instant Pot, I was gonna make just like this Mexican rice. It's really easy. Here's some leftover rice from that extreme grocery budget challenge. So was the chicken broth actually. And I'm just kind of mixing it all together. Do you like this little smiley face spoon? I love these guys. If I can find some on Amazon, I'll link them down below for you. So it's just a can of Rotel, some rice, some chicken broth, some chicken bouillon if you have it, and throw it in your Instant Pot and hit the rice button. I believe it's 12 minutes on an Instant Pot. Oh, this is a Kasori actually, and it's only 6 on that one. I got my blocks of cheese. I had a little bit of cheddar and a little bit of pepper jack. So I went ahead and shredded both of them and kind of mixed them together. My kids don't really have a problem with normal pepper jack. They've been eating spicy food basically their whole life, so they're kind of used to it. And I ended up making that entire package of tortillas with the chorizo and the refried beans and the cheese just like this. These tortillas were enormous. They're the huge burrito size ones. And so each kid actually almost didn't even eat an entire quesadilla because they were so massive. When I make quesadillas, I like to put oil on my griddle and then just kind of smear it around like you can see me doing here. It gives it a really pretty brown crust that's crunchy, and I'm a huge fan of crunchy food. If you put crunchy food in front of me, I'm probably gonna eat it. I ended up feeding 4 adults and 4 kids with this dinner with a little bit left over. It was so good. We haven't had quesadillas in forever, so they were pretty stoked about this. What should we eat today? I'm looking at these pork chops and they're kind of screaming at me. Eat me!
Eat me!
Pork chops. Mom, what do you think?
Good idea.
You like that? These are little 4-ounce sections, so we're gonna let these thaw today. I think we're gonna do my peach jam and Worcestershire sauce on these. It's gonna be good. This recipe would easily be adaptable for a lot of different cuts of meat. It would work well on chicken. I don't know that it would work well on steak, but potentially it would. So basically what you're seeing me do here is season all of the pork chops with salt, pepper, a little bit of ground ginger, and a pinch of cinnamon. After you're done that, you're going to sear them in a pan. You're not going to cook them all the way through. Just give it a hard sear with some oil so it's a little bit brown on top. I had to do mine in 2 batches because I could really only fit 4 or 5 in this pan, and I had 8. Once you're done with that, put them on a plate. I know they're not cooked all the way through. It's going to be okay. I've got about 1 cup of peach preserves or jam or something. Apricot will also work for this. And you're going to melt it down in your pan with some Worcestershire sauce. I believe that's about 1.5 tablespoons, maybe a little more, and some sriracha. And the sriracha, you can put like as much or as little as you want. Start heating up those peach preserves and get them kind of melty. You are welcome to add a little bit of chicken broth or a little bit of water to get it going if you need to, if it's really, really thick, and it'll turn into this beautiful sauce. Once it's at this consistency, you're going to add your pork chops back into the sauce and let them finish cooking all of the way through. Now, pork chops should be the very, very hint of pink in the center. They're easy to overcook, so please don't cook them for an hour. This is only like a 5-minute process. They should be tender. If you overcook pork, it's no good, but otherwise it's delicious. And here's our completed dish. The sauce goes amazing with rice. I had a salad and some muki mamis, shelled edamame, for dinner. Okay, tonight's dinner is actually gonna be this freezer meal. If you guys haven't seen my keto freezer meal prep video, I will leave it up here for you. So I just pulled this out of the freezer. It's still half frozen. There it is. I took the saran wrap off and I think I'm gonna stick it in the oven for about 2 hours or so. It's 3:22, so it should be done at about 5:30. Just pulled the Mexican lasagna out of the oven. It's all bubbly. It smells so good. It's 5:20 p.m. so we're gonna sit down and eat this for dinner. 9x13 pan. We didn't finish all of it the last time we had the other one, so I would imagine there will be some leftovers. What you working on, Mom?
I'm making some kumquat marmalade.
Man, she's been sitting here working, like prepping these kumquats.
Kumquats came from the back yard of my parents' house in Louisiana.
So we're making kumquat marmalade. Well, when I say we, I mean you.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. We will be eating it.
Yes, I will be eating it. Yeah. Haley wants to show off her new mattress. That old mattress was super, super old, you guys. We bought that when Haley was like 2 years old. We got a new mattress today for Haley. Your animal wants you.
Do you want to try it out?
The kumquat marmalade, it has to soak overnight. Star anise. I believe she puts vanilla bean in this too. Lemon. And then she has to boil it for like 2 hours tomorrow. She already did some batches here. I believe it's this one. She already completed some. And she also made a grapefruit marmalade here. Dinner tonight, we are not cooking anything because I have successfully completed my colonoscopy today. Woohoo! I'm so hungry because you don't eat any real food for like a day and a half. My mom offered to take the whole family to the pizza buffet, so that's what we are doing today. Let's go.
There's not a single day that passes without you on my mind. Not even 1 minute can end up before you come around. I yearn for the days when I see your face here before me. I long for the times you held me in your arms. Whoa. How I wish that you were here to give me everything I want. But I know that life's unfair and we can't always have it all. Whoa, whoa, I wish that you were here. Whoa, whoa, I wish that you were here.
Found these 2 muffin mixes in my pantry, so I thought we would mix these up for breakfast tomorrow morning. Gonna be delicious. People always ask me where I got these bowls, and they were a gift, so I didn't know, and then I decided to flip them over on the bottom and see who made them. World Market. These came from World Market, and there's multiple sizes. I have no idea how old these are. I don't know if they make them anymore. World Market, that's where they're from. Good morning, good morning. Today for dinner, we are going to put together my white bean, Tuscan white bean, hang on. Tuscan white bean and garlic soup. My kids call it the nothing soup. I've put it on the channel many, many times before. If I can find one of those videos, I'll link it up here for you. And I'll also leave the recipe down below. It's originally from, I believe, Jada De Laurentiis. It is excellent. Every recipe I have ever tried from her has been amazing. A friend of mine had surgery, so I'm taking dinner over to their house today, so I'm doubling the soup, doubling or tripling the soup, making 2 loaves of no-knead bread. And you're probably wondering, well, if you're gonna make a recipe that has to do with beans, don't you need to prep the night before? And you're right, so let's go back in time for a minute. Past Christine, where are you? Thank you so much, future Christine. Yes, we are going to prep a few things the night before. Now, you don't technically have to soak and cook ahead navy beans, but these are a little bit old. We are gonna soak these overnight and just do a real quick cook in the pressure cooker, maybe 10 minutes to get them going. I want them to be kind of the consistency of canned beans, but these do cook quite a bit faster than kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans, that sort of thing. So we're gonna go ahead and soak maybe half of this in some cold water, or we could soak the whole thing and also make white chicken chili. Let me ponder that. And then we're gonna mix up our crusty no-knead bread that I also made in the Extreme Grocery Budget video. So if you guys haven't seen that, I'll leave a link up here. I'm gonna do 2 loaves, one for me, one for her family. I'm gonna let them sit overnight and we'll cook them up in the morning. Back to future Christine. Okay, thanks past Christine for the prep work. One of the most important parts of this dish is fresh sage. Now, I always pick up the woohoo stickers. You guys know that. So I have put these in my freezer. So these have been sitting in my freezer for a while. I pulled them out. They turn a little bit darker once you thaw them, but they still taste fine. I'm gonna use these 2 containers of fresh sage in my soup, and you're gonna need either an immersion blender or a blender because it's supposed to be pureed. I use an immersion blender for this. If I can find the exact one I have, I'll link it down below for you. It's a Cuisinart. I've had it for over 10 years. I'll see you after spin and we'll put the soup together. So I'm just sauteing an onion or 2, depending on how much onion you like, in some olive oil. If you have butter, you should add this, but I realize that I don't have any butter, so I should add that to my shopping list until it's soft. And then I'm gonna add chicken broth, the beans, and the sage, and some garlic cloves. I'm gonna let that simmer till everything is cooked and soft. This is a 9-quart covered Dutch oven. This is the Le Creuset, if I'm saying that right, brand, but you can find cheaper ones at Sam's or on Amazon. So if I can find one that's similar in size, I'll link that down below. I get asked that all the time. I'll be adding the chicken broth and beans in just a second. I do have a little bit of leftover chicken broth from my Dream Grocery Budget Challenge. I had extra, so I froze it. So I had like 3 extras, but this is my last one. So this is chicken broth right here that I will be adding in, and then some bouillon as well. I put about 9 cups of chicken broth / bouillon. If you're gonna do bouillon, just enough cubes of water to make about 9 cups. It looks like it may not be enough. I might add more. And I did 4 massive cloves of garlic in here. And I have, this is an 8-cup measuring cup, and I'm over that. So I would say this is probably 9 to 10 cups of cooked white beans. You can do cannellini beans, you could do navy beans, it doesn't really matter. Here we go. All right, here it is with the beans. You know, I think I'm gonna add the rest of my beans. I have a few more. I think I'm just gonna dump them in and add maybe 2 more cups of the chicken broth. So here's what I have left. This is probably another 4 cups. Nobody lives forever.
Nobody lives forever.
That looks pretty good. And we're just gonna let this simmer until everything is cooked together and soft. Don't forget the sage leaves. I almost forgot. The sage leaves are gonna cook in there as well. And remember, all of this is gonna be pureed together. So don't do the stems, just the leaf. And if you're just gonna do a 1 serving, I've essentially tripled this at this point. I would only do like 2 to 3 sage leaves, but I have a whole bunch in here. But that's fine. Here's the immersion blender I have, and we're gonna mix up our soup. Okay, the last step is some heavy whipping cream. Now, before you freak out, remember that I have like 9 quarts of soup in here. Not even 1 cup of cream. You can taste for salt at this point, which I think it's pretty good. And then I also am gonna add a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. Just for fun on the no knead bread, I did 1 batch with 100% whole wheat flour, and this has sat for about 12 hours or so, and it looks extremely different than the white flour, extremely. I added extra water because it looked really dry. It did get a little bubbly, but I would say if you're gonna use 100% whole wheat flour, it does need to sit longer, like closer to the 24 hours instead of the 12-hour window. I made my no knead bread, 100% white flour, 100% whole wheat flour. I will say I didn't make an effort to make a pretty ball on this one, and it does smell good, but it looks really weird. Like, it looks like it's totally edible and okay. Thinking a combo of the 2, very interesting. I did cook both of them in the mini Dutch oven. Here it is. I've had a lot of questions about this, so I do put a little bit of cornmeal on the bottom so it doesn't stick. But this is a 3.5 quart size. It is the Le Creuset brand. I'll try and find a similar one on Amazon for you and link it down below. An off-brand will absolutely be cheaper than this one, but it is really high quality if you want to invest or request like a birthday or Christmas present from somebody that's got the cash to burn. Okay, I've had a bunch of people ask how to cut the Dutch oven bread. So you're just gonna cut it in half this way. We'll take each half of this and slice it this way, okay? Right, so it makes slices. And if you're like my family, you'll fight over that piece. That's my favorite piece. I love that piece. Some people like them really thin. I like mine really thick and crusty. This one has sat out for about 2 hours, so it's cool. It's gonna be so much easier to slice if it's cool. Trying to cut this when it's like hot out of the oven is impossible because it will wanna mush on you. And then, oh, bummer. So anyway, there you go. As I was putting together this dinner for my friend, I noticed some vegetable remnants in my fridge. My mom had bought a few things when she first arrived for some salad she wanted to do. And I'm like, dude, why don't I just make a salad? A huge one. Half for her, half for us. We have a new baby in the family, you guys. A new baby. I'm about to take my dinner over to my friend's house, so I thought I'd mix up a batch of chocolate chip cookies, although I did white chocolate chips, semi-sweet, and butterscotch, just because I had kind of empty bags of each. My cookie tip for you is to add a little pinch of salt, like coarse salt, over the top of this before you stick it in the oven. The salty sweet combo is money. Today I'm using a vanilla bean salt that I picked up at my local grocery store in these little small containers. They're kind of fun. Here's the whole completed dinner. That Tupperware is a 1 gallon size, so it's 1 gallon almost of the soup, homemade bread, the salad, there's homemade croutons right there, and the chocolate chip cookies. And of course, this on the left-hand side right there, that's for my family, and then the rest is for her. Dinner for tomorrow night is going to be red beans and rice. Yes! I have this ham bone left over from Christmas I stuck in the freezer. There's a good bit of meat on there still. And 1 pound, maybe a little bit more, of kidney beans, and I'm gonna make my mom make it because her red beans and rice are better than mine. I don't know why, we use the same recipe, hers are better. I'm gonna soak these overnight, show you how my mom makes this tomorrow. Ignore the water noise, the dishwasher draining in the sink. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, getting ready for my red beans and rice. My mom always cooks hers in the crock pot while I've typically done mine on the stove. It'll work either way. This is just your standard, very, very cheap crock pot. I picked it up from Walmart for $19.95 or something like that. It's a 6 quart. I have my 1 pound of kidney beans that have soaked all night, some celery, an onion, the ham bone, and one of the most important ingredients, Uncle Tony's. This is just a Cajun seasoning. This is the best one. So if you want to get Cajun seasoning, get this one. They also have a lower salt version and a spicier version, although I find this one to be fairly spicy. I just watched Jen Chapin's video on cleaning your produce well, but she had mentioned, you know, making sure you clean your produce, which I always do. Because her celery was so dirty, I pulled this out of my fridge and I realized how dirty mine was. Look at it. This is like gritty with sand. There's all this dirt in here. So anyway, I just want to reiterate what she said. Please wash your produce. You don't want to be eating sand in your food. So basically we're just going to chop that and dump all of this in here with some fresh water. This is one of the dishes that I grew up eating all of the time. My mom is from Louisiana, for those that don't know. It's one of my favorites. The kids love it. We have 1 massive onion in the crock pot and we're chopping up basically, are you doing the whole head, Mom? I mean, there's really no recipe here, guys. Right. We'll probably do all of this. I mean, why not? And then I'm gonna drain and rinse these real quick before I dump those in. Hey, we have our celery is in 2 to 3 bay leaves. This is some fresh bay leaves. I think was left over from a meal box kit that I stuck in the freezer. So I think there's 3 bay leaves in here. So we're gonna add these in and then cover with water and put in our Tonys and some chicken bouillon. Measure and let it go. The Tonys, I'd say a teaspoon to start. A teaspoon. You can always add more. You can't take away. So I would start on the light side. And that was probably a tablespoon. Yeah. Of bouillon. Oh, that's pretty full.
Yeah. And you don't even want to go up to the top because
the beans will absorb.
And the onions and celery will cook down, so there's going to be more liquid as it cooks.
Okay, everything's in. Believe it or not, there is water in there. It's just, you can't see it. If you don't have a ham bone, you could also make this with a ham steak. Just buy a ham steak and chop it up. You can do it with Louisiana smoked sausage. I've done it with ham hocks before. That's really good. And the thing, because there's no recipe here, you're gonna kind of like add water as we go, taste as we go, maybe add a little bit more of this. To go with our red beans and rice, I just cooked it in Instapot, plain white rice. Has not been going as long as my mom would like. She says 12 hours on high.
Or less.
Or maybe a little bit less. We're about there. You definitely want what my grandma would call the bean liquor. It's like when the beans start like making this thick consistency. Just trust me, it's like really, really nice. So I might take this bone out of here and pick any meat off that hasn't fallen off yet. And then we'll serve it over the rice. Here's the final red beans and rice product. You might want a little bit more soup in that. I should add more liquid. And are you even eating red beans and rice if you don't add Tabasco? I don't think you can say you're from Louisiana if you do not always have this in your pantry. A to-go one for your purse is also acceptable. I have a lot of people tell me that I don't serve my family enough.
Well, there's tons more left in the pot.
My friends, that is all she wrote. That is all of the meals that we are gonna be covering in this video. Whole kit and caboodle. It's the whole enchilada. It's the whole package. This is the end. It's over. I'm gonna drink my Crystal Light non-caffeinated grape flavored beverage. As I'm reviewing the recipes I made, I used a lot of beans this week. I don't know what that's about. I've had a lot in my house. I'm just trying to get rid of them. I don't know. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed, hit the thumbs up button. It likes it when you do that. The thumbs up wants to turn blue, so just go ahead and do it. Why are you fighting it? I'll see you next time.